This video is going to tell you how to talk about the future in French. It's going to explain how to use the two future tenses that exist in French, the immediate future and the future tense. Here's 4 examples of the immediate future. Je vais manger, il va manger, nous allons manger, ils vont manger. I'm sure you've seen something similar to these in lessons already. I am going to eat, he is going to eat, we are going to eat, and they are going to eat. It's actually formed by putting 2 parts together. And it's one of the easier tenses in French because it uses just an infinitive verb. There's no taking anything off, there's no adding anything onto the end, you're just keeping the infinitive as it is. So as I say, there are 2 parts to forming the immediate future tense in French. They're the subject and a part of aller, that's what you have in this table down here, and an infinitive verb. And you put those together, you get something like je vais dormir, I am going to sleep. And if you want to say that you're doing something else, the je vais stays exactly the same. You just change the green, the infinitive verb, to whatever action you're doing. Je vais visiter, I am going to visit. Visiter says exactly the same as it is as an infinitive, exactly as you would find it in a dictionary or online. Je vais écouter, I am going to listen. Again, the je vais has not changed. The écouter is exactly as we find it in a dictionary. Think about it, I am going to listen. But then if we wanted to change the person, we again make no change to the infinitive, the part in green. That stays exactly the same. It's part 1 that changes. So, il va écouter. He is going to listen. Nous allons écouter. We are going to listen. Ils vont écouter. They are going to listen. You've noticed the infinitive verb has not changed at all. The pattern to form the immediate future tense is really easy to follow and complete. As I said, it's one of the easier tenses in French. You start with an infinitive verb and you add the correct subject and part of aller. For example, je vais. Je vais visiter. I am going to visit. You change the subject and the part of aller. Il va visiter. He is going to visit. The infinitive verb didn't change at all. So actually, with this information, your subject and part of aller, and these lists of common cross-topic infinitives, you can say loads of things in the future tense. Equally, you can look in a dictionary or on wordreference.com and you can find loads of original infinitives, and you don't have to worry about how they change or how their spelling changes because you're keeping them exactly as you find them in this particular tense. The immediate future tense is one of the easier ones to form in French. The other future tense that we have, the second future tense in French, is called just the future tense. And it indicates something that will happen slightly longer term in the future. Je mangerai, I will eat. Il mangera, he will eat. Nous mangerons, we will eat. And ils mangeront, they will eat. What you should hopefully notice is that the infinitive manger appears in all of these examples without anything being taken off it. And what's happened is every time we've changed the person, we've added something different onto the end without taking anything off the infinitive. In fact, it's that bit on the end that indicates we're talking about the future. If you needed a meaning for that AI, it's will. Or if you needed a meaning for that a, it's a will as well. So this is how you form the future tense. You take an infinitive verb, like jouer, or finir, or vendre, any of the 3 types, and you add the correct ending. Remembering, for RE verbs, you've got to take the E off first. That's the only thing you have to do. So here's some examples. Je jouerai, I will play. Elle jouera, she will play. Ils joueront, they will play. So you start with your infinitive verb. and you add the correct subject and the correct ending. So for je, you add ai, and for il or elle, you add ont. Here's a list of infinitives that cover er and re and ir as well. And I'll show you some examples of how this will look. Je dormirai, I will sleep. I've got dormir, that's my infinitive, and I've added something onto the start. Because it's je, I've added ai onto the end. And then I want to change the person. Tu dormiras. You'll notice the infinitive hasn't changed at all. That green dormir has stayed exactly the same, but the start and the ending have changed to mean you will sleep. Il dormira. Again, same infinitive, but I've changed the start and the end to mean he will sleep. Every time I change the start, I've got to change the end. Nous dormirons. Again, we will sleep, change the start and the end. Ils dormiront. They will sleep, changing the start, which means I've got to change the ending. I could change the verb, j'écouterai, but it's still an infinitive that we have here. I will listen. Nous attendrons. We will wait. This was an re verb, so you remember I've taken off my e before I'm adding my ending. Nous and ons. Il poignardera. He will stab. It was il, as we have in our table, we had an a on the end. Il poignardera. What's important to remember is those are the patterns for many, many verbs. However, there are also many irregulars in the future tense. And what it means by irregulars is we can't follow that particular pattern to form the future, to say that something will happen. For some verbs, you have to add those endings, which never change. So for je, you're always going to add ai on the end. And for nous, you're always going to add ons on the end. But instead of adding them to an infinitive, you've got to add them onto a stem. And here is a list of the most common and useful verbs and what their stems are. So être, if you want to say I will be, because être means to be, you have to add your ending onto ser. So if you want to say I will be, je serai, I will be. Or il sera, he will be. In fact, there's a song in French, que sera, sera, whatever will be, telling you a little bit about the grammar. We also have avoir, to have, becomes AUR in the future. Faire, to do, becomes FER, faire, in the future. Devenir, to become, becomes deviendre. Pouvoir, to be able to, becomes pour. Devoir, to have to, becomes devre. Vouloir, to want to, becomes voudre. And aller, to go, becomes ir. Make sure you're still adding the correct endings on depending on your person, but these are the most common stems. They're not the only ones that exist in French, but they are the ones that you will be using time and time again. Here's some examples of how the irregulars would look in the future tense when we've added our endings and our subjects on. Je serai, I will be. Il aura, he will have. Nous ferons, we will do. For je, we're still adding ai. For il, we're still adding an a. And for nous, we're still adding ons. The process of forming the future does not change. However, what we add our endings onto can do for some verbs which are irregular. As with any irregulars in French, there's no way of knowing and being able to do it. You just have to learn those particular stems through practice and through making really good notes.